All right, well, it's that time of year again. It's the end of year review. 2025 has come and gone, and we're going to look forward to 2026. This channel is about working on aircraft and flying those airplanes. So come take a seat and let's go for a flight. So this is the video and the channel that we get to look back at the previous year and review some of the highlights of some of the videos that were posted throughout the year. And then we also kind of project into 2026 to see what we think will happen there. But this is a trip down memory lane, and what trip wouldn't be complete without a compilation of all the landings. I have a unique opportunity to be able to land at some very cool and challenging airports in the Northwest, and this video was a compilation of some of those landings.
And tower 50 Kilo is just coming in just north of the North Shore.
Benson 50 Kilo, runway 25, wind 280 at 12, gust 18, clear to land.
Clear to land, 50 Kilo.
We're watching as the world's unmade and call it all our golden age. Ooh, we are beyond control. Ooh,
Dead center line. Dead center line. Keep dead center line.
Since I ran into you, do you need a picture? Well, I get
That's a spot right there. Oh my God, you can still see the dirt.
All right, nicely done. You can do a 180 at the end and come back here to the midfield and taxi.
Stinson, 90250 Kilo is North Everett 1400. Request special VFR with Sierra for full stop landing.
50 Kilo cleared into the class Delta surface area northeast of Painesville Airport, maintain special VFR conditions out of 1500.
Keyway, you guys have a great day. 50 Kilo.
50 Kilo, indeed, have a good flight.
Earlier in the year, we also had to do the annual on Sheila, and some of the compressions on the engine didn't quite pass muster, if you will. So we ended up lapping some valves and showing you a step-by-step of how that process went. I'm going to just dab up the valve spring here, or the valve stem here, because we're going to be spinning this valve in the seat, and I don't want it to create any wear on in the valve there. Okay. Next, what we're going to do is we're going to take a little bit of compound on a Q-tip and go in from the spark plug hole, and we're going to put that compound in between the valve seat and the valve face. $64 now. Looking pretty good. All right, now that we've got the valve lapped and cleaned up, I'm going to show you. I used one Q-tip to apply and at least that many to clean up. It did get a lot of views and quite a lot of comments about doing that, and I'm glad that some of you guys stuck up for me and defended me in some of those comments. So on to the next one. So I did a comical view of what it would be like to pre-flight your car. It was a little short snippet, and I think it got a few chuckles. So what if you had to go through all the procedures and planning that you do on your plane in your car? It would look something like this. All right, let's check the weather. Man, a little bit of traffic out there. checklist. Yeah. Yeah, no checklist. Walmart traffic, Volvo Sierra 60, departing to the south. Walmart traffic. Also earlier in the year is the Northwest Expo, and that's where a bunch of aviators can come together and get together with vendors and speakers. The IA seminars are also held during that period of time, so that's where I'll be spending most of my time, is going through the seminars. And it also, from last year, led into a very interesting discussion on the viability of non-leaded fuels, and not so much to talk about how that whole program is progressing or anything, but to look at it from a view of how these new fuels are going to work and be compatible with a lot of the seals that are inside of the engines and the fuel cells and everything through the entire system. And that one, if you're going to see a video, that's the one to actually watch. And I actually found out about you from the IA seminars that you did just recently here at Puyallup. So I think one of the things that really struck me was when you were talking about the implications of going to 100 to getting rid of 100 low lead and going to an unleaded fuel, what that would mean to the industry. And I'll let you talk about that a little bit here now.
Yeah, I speak around the country at IA refresher courses, and like I said, the one that you were at in Puyallup. And what I do, and I'm trying to get mechanics thinking about, no matter what happens here over the next 5 years, whether this gets pushed off and we keep 100 low lead, which is probably not a reality, but you never know, or we get A, B, or C fuel. The rubber components need to be addressed in the aircraft. They're already tired from 100 low lead. And so what I'm trying to do is just educate people and let them know we need to be progressively upgrading things, because when we get to 2030, whether it's 100 low lead, A, B, or C fuel, we're going to need to do things. And if you wait to the end, then life's not good. So that's pretty much my pitch that I give out there, but that's where you jumped in, and it was a little eye-opening on the whole process that we've been in. So
yeah, and I think for the moment that kind of was like an explosion in my head is when you equated when we did the ADS-B mandate, and everybody that needed to fly in airspace needed to equip. This was kind of along those lines, but this is like on a magnitude of like 10, or just it's just amazing.
Right.
The problem with the MMT based fuels is its performance. And as I'm editing this, I just wanted to point out a correction that Kurt pointed out, is that Swift does not use MMT fuels. They use MTBE, which is methyl terbutyl ethyl anyway. So that's a correction. And but still, these types of fuels will probably do damage to older systems and to Buna type seals. So, but I will link a whole bunch of stuff down here with a bunch of links. And if you want to reach me directly, you can email me now at feedbackforfreedomfixer@hotmail. And that'll be down in the description as well. So we also got a chance to head down to South Prairie for their, I think it's the Mother's Day fly-in. That was a really cool one because there's all kinds of airplanes that show up, and it's just it's a great opportunity to go down to a private field and hang out with a bunch of like-minded individuals. They would bring in food trucks, and there's all kinds of airplanes to see, and it's just really a good time. Incidentally, I also went down to that same air park because I need to return a coworker's lost item, if you will. Ryan and I were trading favors there for a little bit, so hopefully we don't leave anything else behind.
Beautiful.
So Amelia had brought in the T6, which was part of an air-to-air shoot with Frank's Stearman. Now, if you know anything about these two airplanes, their airspeeds aren't exactly, well, the Stearman is flying as fast as it possibly can, and the T6 is flying as slow as it possibly can. But it was really an awesome experience to be involved with that air-to-air shoot. The only airplane that was missing of these three was actually Daisy, which was the photo platform. Last year also saw the return of the Community Day at Payne Field. And being kind of in the early part of spring, the weather doesn't seem to like to cooperate with us very well. Well, today is May 17th of 2025, and it is the Community Day at Payne Field. So we're at the Payne Field Aviation Community Day for 2025, and the weather is, as you can see, but it looks like we might have a hole coming up here shortly, so we might be able to fly a few bunch of kids. So check this out. The EAA establishes the visibility requirements. We need to have VFR conditions, and our circuit that we're going to fly is at 2,500 feet, so we need to have ceilings of at least 3,000 feet. Now, on a day like today, where we're just barely at VFR minimums, we're going to actually have somebody fly around the circuit, which we affectionately refer to that as a canary flight. They will get eyes on and we'll get a pilot report of the actual ceilings throughout the entire circuit. If this canary flight comes back, you get a thumbs up, we'll actually fly kids. This is the second year where weather has been a big factor in not allowing us to participate in the Young Eagles events that are planned for that period of time. But you can still come down and see the museum for free, and so it wasn't a total loss. This is the first year that I was able to participate in the ongoing Thunder Run, which is an exercise in coordinating and moving products like food and supplies, if ever needed, if there was an emergency like an earthquake or tsunami in the Puget Sound or anywhere in the Northwest. This type of exercise is fundamental in being able to get the first responders, the pilots, all the ground crew, everybody kind of used to what kind of participation is required and the kind of coordination that's needed to get products from one spot of the area to outlying areas that would actually need to use some of these supplies. So the Thunder Run is a great experience, and if you can ever get a chance to do it, I highly recommend it.
The way this procedure works is once you're on the ground and parked and you're ready to load your airplane, you will contact the load coordinator, who will take your information as to how much weight you can safely take and your destination. They will then make a manifest for you, and the CAP will assist in bringing the product to your airplane to load. Once you're ready for the departure, you then go to the ham shack, give them your information as well, and they will communicate to the arriving airport that you are about to depart.
Well, Sky Terry, thank you so much for you're a big part of this whole event. And for those that don't know, this is the disaster airlift rescue.
It's the West Coast General Aviation Response Plan.
Okay.
Then this is a multiple disaster airlift response teams in multiple local areas throughout the state, working collaboratively together to move supplies, with Bellingham International being the point of origin for much of it.
I might have mentioned some of the things that on a personal level it kind of affected some of the flying stuff that we did this year. One of them was we weren't able to go to the WAM fly-in because of a previously committed wedding.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. and Mrs. Tate Mitchell.
So in lieu of going down to Hood River doing the fly-in, I went down early and got a chance to participate and do some volunteering for that weekend at the WAM with the help of Jay and the folks down there at the WAM. Got to work on some very notable aircraft, which was a big honor, and able to go down there and at least lend a hand if not able to go to the fly-in itself.
Walking and talking, 50 kilo, thanks for your help. Hood River traffic from 50 kilo is just crossing over the Columbia, the northwest, and down full stop landing 25 at Hood River. sporty. Mixture. Traffic 75 kilo is left base 25 full stop. Good river. Traffic 75 kilo turning final 25 full stop. Good river.
So when I got to the WAM, they put me directly to work making some nose ribs for the center section of another airplane we'll talk about in just a little bit. But the first airplane we were working on is called a Mercury BT-120. This was kind of slated to be a basic trainer that never really came to fruition. That's why they only made about 3 of these airplanes, I believe. 3 or 5, I'm not quite sure. However, this is the serial number 2 of that line of airplanes. Now, a BT-120, pictured here, is sort of reminiscent of a Beech Staggerwing, although in a tandem configuration. And being a Staggerwing, it applies to a AD that was originally for the Beech Staggerwing. And because the verbiage in the AD mentioned Staggerwings, it didn't call out a manufacturer. So any Staggerwing airplane needs to have this AD accomplished. And what the AD is that the section outboard of the struts needs to be of a wood boxed construction. The way these wings are designed, they're wood spars with aluminum ribs on the inboard section. But on the outboard sections, they need to be made of wood, and a plywood sheet is put over the top of them to box out the section. This helps create more rigidity and prevents the wings from fluttering in flight.
As August rolls around, that is our first anniversary together. So Kim and I, we took a plunge 1 year ago, and we figured on our 1 year anniversary, we'd take another plunge. So we went down to Snohomish at Harvey Field, and we jumped out of an airplane. So that was kind of a really cool experience, and I would love to do that again.
Welcome to Skydive Snohomish. How you doing today? Woohoo! Who do we have here?
I'm Christopher.
And I'm his wife, Kim.
Perfect.
We got married a year ago,
Yes.
and we figured we took the plunge then. We're going to take another plunge today.
Here we go. How we doing?
We're fine.
Yeah? Excited? All right, Kim, we're hopping on the runway. Woohoo! All right,
Turn and burn.
Here
And throughout the rest of the year, was able to take some people up that normally don't get to fly or have never flown in an airplane before. Took a couple of coworkers up, but most notably, I was able to take a young gentleman up on his very first flight, and that was also my first Young Eagle flight as well. So that was kind of a unique experience for the both of us. So you're going to step your right foot here, grab here, and then you're going to perfect. All right. I'm going to these shoulder straps on the top here. It'll be too loud otherwise. You won't be able to hear. All right, and you want to keep it as close to your mouth as possible. Sure, absolutely. Okay. Some Mazda mixture, carbonates cold, throttle slight, prop area. All right.
Wheels down. Power set. Airspeed's a 5. There's the tail. So what do you think so far?
I love it.
Awesome.
How was that? Good. High five, man. There you go. In between all that, I did a video on what I use for a flyaway kit, leaving anywhere you want to have some amount of tools or some way in case your airplane decides to not function the way it's supposed to. And so I kind of went through my flyaway kit, and then I explained how to make a jack tool for the Stensons. That slot is designed to go around that bolt. And then you take a floor jack and lift from here to get the tire off the ground. So here are some of the boxes that I carry. This is my kind of oil service. I keep a couple quarts of oil. That's the fuel thief for the auxiliary tank. I have a little bit of cleaner in case I get some smudge on the side of the airplane, and then a funnel for dumping said oil into engine. For cleaning the windshield, I like to use Pledge Lemon. It's the best flavor. I also have a couple of really cheap bike chains. There are some airports that will loan you a bicycle, but they don't always have a chain, so that's always kind of good to have. This is my flight control lock, and this attaches around the stock for the yoke, and this presses up against the panel, so it locks not only the elevators from going back and forth, it also locks the ailerons side to side. So here is what is on tap for 2026. Barring anything from the normal 9-to-5 job, I'm going to be trying to concentrate as much time on working on Daisy to get her flying. There's a lot of work to be done to finish up the instrument panel. We're going to continue with all this routing. I'm going to terminate all of the grounds and the shields down by a terminal block underneath, and then we get to have the fun job of lacing all this stuff back together. Get the rest of the airframe done, and then do the top overhaul on the motor. So hopefully, I'm trying to shoot for spring to have that airplane up and running again. So we'll see how that goes. But in the meantime, I do have 2 other projects that are, I keep saying I want to get them done, but there's a lot of challenges in them. The first one is the sheet metal video. And the challenge there is there's just so much content, and trying to boil that down to where it's not such a monotonous sort of just dry technical. I'm trying to boil that down to where it's more viewable than anything else. It almost fits the hole, but it is extremely short. That's about perfect right there for length. And again, that one underdriven and very short. One of the very first videos that I ever wanted to do on the channel was a walkthrough on how to cover an airplane. The challenge there is the footage that I made back then, I didn't have the knowledge that I have now about lighting and sound and composition. Make sort of a documentary of covering the wings on my 1947 Stinson Voyager 108-2 and that type of stuff. So a lot of that stuff, the footage that was shot back then, either is terrible lighting and you can't see anything, or there is audio in the background, i.e. radio. This was a really good example of helping getting some of the wrinkles out. And when they tell you in the manual, pull hard, they ain't kidding. Which plays music that is copyrighted, and YouTube doesn't like that kind of video, so I would get probably struck down and wouldn't be able to, I'd have to cut that stuff out of the video anyway. So it's been kind of a nightmare in the editing portion of that. So the only other way to do that is maybe recover the wing again. But that's a big expense, and you know, if I ever do get the opportunity to recover something, I'm going to make sure to video it and shoot it much better than I did. But I think I can still work something together to have a fabric covering video out, and I'm hoping to have it done this year. So that's what. So that's the wrap up of 2025, and I hope to see you out there in 26 somewhere, either flying around in an airport or a fly-in, or maybe even at the expo. But we'll see you then, and as always, may all your flying be good flying. Take 2. Action! That's not a Stinson. Yep, not a Stinson. This is a 1969 something or other. Now, I realize that intro was a little bit over dramatic. This is put together by the local area DART program, and I forgot what I was going to say. There are 3 ways or paths to take in order to obtain an FAA issued certificate to legally work on airplanes unsupervised. Weird. Airplanes in an airport.